Hey everybody, Dave from Adlook back again for a new video. This time we're going to be talking about growth across the funnel. So it's going to focus heavily on what Adlook does, not just for one particular part of the funnel, but the entire thing. If you're not using a programmatic advertiser that can help you with top, middle, and bottom all at the same time in the same campaign, then you're wasting time, you're wasting money, and you're losing out on potential clients. So this video explains clearly with real data and facts and success rates from our past campaigns how AdLook will get you growth from top, middle, and bottom. I'll come back at the end. Here we go.
Hey everyone, every single advertiser out there is wrestling with the same big question. How do you take a customer from just hearing about you for the first time all the way to actually making a purchase? It's that classic funnel, right? Well, today we're going to dig into how technology can help you master that whole journey and drive some real tangible growth at every single step. So let's just start with a really important question you should be asking about your own campaigns. Is all that money you're spending actually building a brand that sticks in people's minds? Or are you just buying a bunch of fleeting impressions that are gone in a flash? The difference is, well, it's everything. And it really sets the stage for a much smarter way to look at advertising. All right, here's a quick look at what we're going to cover. We'll kick things off with the big challenge facing all of us in advertising today. Then we're going to walk right down the funnel, from building brands people can't forget to grabbing some real meaningful engagement. And then, of course, getting the most bang for your buck. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at the cool tech that makes it all happen. Okay, let's get into it. The whole landscape is changing right under our feet, isn't it? We're all trying to figure out this new privacy-first, cookieless world. And because of that, advertisers are, and they should be, demanding proof that their ads are actually working, not just empty promises. Figuring this out is pretty much the biggest question in our industry right now. Yeah, because reaching people these days, that's kind of become the easy part. The real challenge, the thing that separates a good campaign from a great one, is making a real, memorable impact at every single touch point, from that very first impression all the way to that final click. So let's start at the very top of the funnel. This is where every great customer relationship has to begin. It's all about building a brand that people don't just see, but one they actually remember when it matters. And check this out. This is the kind of impact we're talking about. A 136% lift in unaided brand recall. Just let that sink in for a second. That means people can name your brand off the top of their head without any hints. That's not just getting seen. That's owning a little piece of their memory. That is real brand building. So how in the world is that possible? Well, a massive piece of the puzzle is context. By putting ads in the right places where they just make sense, AdLook saw a 131% lift in awareness. It's just solid proof that where your ad shows up is just as important as the ad itself. And luck, this isn't just luck or guesswork. As Luca Filardo from Adlook says here, it's all built on a solid foundation of data and information. Partnering up with giants like Comscore is what lets them actually measure and prove the impact they're having at the top of the funnel. Okay, so you've built awareness. People know your name. Awesome. But now what? How do you get them to actually care? This is the middle of the funnel, where we need to go from just being recognized to being actively considered. Now this chart, this really shows what quality engagement looks like. We're not just talking about getting views, we're talking about people watching the whole thing. With pre-bid optimization, AdLook is driving a 48% jump in video completion rates. That means your story is actually being heard all the way through. And here's the fundamental difference in how they approach it. The old way is to analyze how you did after you've already spent the cash. It's like trying to change course after you've already hit something. AdLook's pre-bid tech uses deep learning to check out placements before you even spend a dime, so you'll only bid on the spots that are actually going to grab attention. It saves money and boosts performance right from the get-go. All right, now for the part everyone really cares about, connecting all this great brand building and engagement to the bottom line. This is where we talk about turning all that hard work into real, measurable results that actually move the business. And what does that look like? How about 10 times better cost efficiency? Seriously, this came from a super targeted campaign for a major car company. We're not talking about a little 10% bump here. We're talking 10 times the results for every dollar you put in. That's what happens when you match smart targeting with the right message. And the results just keep coming. A 40% drop in cost per acquisition, a cost per lead that's 38% lower than the other guys. They're cutting the cost per visit in half and getting a 5-fold increase in visitors from display ads. These are the kinds of hard numbers that tell you the whole system is working. So what's the secret sauce? How does Adlook actually make all of this happen from the top of the funnel all the way to the bottom? Well, it really comes down to their core technology and just a fundamentally different way of thinking about ad buying. At the very heart of it all is something called the deep learning bidder. You can think of it as this incredibly smart system that, instead of just buying any old ad space, analyzes tons of signals in real time to figure out which spots will actually lead to an outcome, like a sale or a sign up, and it only bids on those. You can really boil their whole philosophy down to these 3 simple steps. First, they prioritize quality, focusing on how relevant an impression is, not just how many they can get. Second, they customize everything with deep learning, so every single campaign gets its own special algorithm that gets smarter as it goes. And third, it's all about driving tangible results, making sure every dollar is working as hard as it possibly can. Which kind of brings us right back to where we started. Trying to tackle the funnel in separate little pieces just doesn't cut it anymore. If your ad platform is only good at one part of the journey, you're leaving so much value on the table. So I guess the real question you have to ask yourself is this: if your strategy isn't working across the entire funnel, is it really working for you at all?
There it is. The numbers and data are there to show you the success rate, and we are so confident in our technology. We do offer guarantees and KPI promises. So if you want to know more, please feel free to reach out, check out our website, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.